Have you ever had that moment, that flash of recognition, when something deep inside of you suddenly clicks in play? You can't explain how you know, but you just know. It's as if some hidden lock within consciousness opens and you see the truth for what it is. The truth that the struggle was never necessary. The game was never stacked against you because the game itself was rigged in your favor all along. Most of us have been taught to approach life like a competition, score points, earn achievements, hustle harder. We've been conditioned to believe that worthiness is something that we have to fight for. But reality creation doesn't work like that. It's not a system of reward and punishment. It's a mirror of vibration. The universe isn't judging what you deserve. It's simply matching what you are. So while most people are busy trying to get what they want, the universe is responding only to your frequency. Your state of being is the only variable that matters. Everything else, your circumstances, your past, the so called facts of your life, are just reflections of a previous state. Once you realize that, you stop playing the wrong game. You put down the scorecards, you stop trying to prove yourself, and you start living from the truth that you've already won. The irony is that the harder we try to earn our place, the more we reinforce the illusion that we don't already have it. The real secret, the royal secret, is that creation isn't about earning, it's about being.
Exactly. From the moment we're born, the world feeds us this story that life is a kind of like a merit based system. Work hard, suffer enough, climb the ladder, and eventually you'll be rewarded. It's a narrative built on struggle and delay, and it keeps people endlessly striving. But the truth is more radical than that. You were born into worthiness. You don't have to earn it. Think about royalty. A prince doesn't fill out an application to become royal. A princess doesn't have to pass a series of tests to qualify for her inheritance. They simply are royalty. It's their birthright. And in the same way as expressions of the same infinite consciousness that created everything, we are royalty too. We're not guests on this planet who need to pay rent with suffering or proof. We are divine heirs to a limitless inheritance. When you really grasp that everything shifts, you stop acting like a beggar in your own kingdom. You stop asking for permission to thrive. A flower doesn't have to earn the right to bloom. The river doesn't have to justify its flow. It simply fulfills its nature. And you too are here to fulfill yours effortlessly, naturally, and abundantly. But here's the catch. Knowing that truth intellectually isn't enough. You have to embody it, to live it, breathe it, become it. Because the universe doesn't respond to what you say you know, it responds to what you are.
And that's where the frequency fiasco comes in. We may know, at least conceptually, that we're divine creators, but our daily broadcast tells another story. Think of yourself as a radio tower, constantly transmitting your dominant state of being. You might want to tune into abundance and effortless flow, but you're still broadcasting scarcity and struggle. Your frequency isn't determined by affirmations or wishful thinking. It's shaped by your self concept, the sum of what you believe about yourself, what you expect from life, and what you assume is possible. Those old beliefs picked up from culture, family, religion are like static in the signal. They whisper, you have to earn it. You're not enough. You'll lose everything if you stop striving. These beliefs don't just make you tired, they distort the frequency. And because the universe is an exact mirror, you end up living inside the reflection of those assumptions. You're not punished for them, you're simply shown what you're being. The world is your echo chamber, responding faithfully to the energy that you hold most often.
That's why the work of reality creation isn't really work in the traditional sense. It's more like unworking. The task isn't to add more effort or force new habits. It's to undo everything that blocks the natural signal of who you already are. It's definitely an unlearning. We can train to accumulate knowledge, methods, strategies, steps. But creation isn't addictive, it's subtractive. You don't need to become worthy, you just need to stop believing that you're not. You don't need to achieve abundance, you only need to realize the assumption that you lack it. So release the assumption. Think of it like brushing dust off a diamond. The brilliance was always there, it was simply obscured. When you stop identifying as the struggler or the victim, you uncover the creator that's been shining underneath the whole time. And that's the great paradox. The less you try, the more it flows. The moment you stop fighting the current, you realize the river has been carrying you all along.
Once you begin to awaken to this truth, that your frequency is the true creative engine, something extraordinary happens. You stop chasing and you start aligning. But the next challenge emerges almost immediately. Maintain that inner state. Because the moment you decide to live as the creator, life will start testing your attention. The world you've been observing up to now is made of echoes, old manifestations of previous states. And when you step into a higher frequency, those echoes don't vanish instantly. They linger, trying to pull you back into the old game. The bills, the delays, the familiar frustrations. They all seem to shout, see, nothing's changed. And that is where attention becomes everything. Your attention is the currency of creation. Whatever you fund with your focus expands in your experiences. Every time you revisit an old fear or replay an old argument in your mind, you are investing in a frequency of limitation. Every time you focus on joy, gratitude, or possibility, you amplify the frequency of abundance. The true courage, then, is to become the gatekeeper of your own attention, not out of discipline or force, but out of devotion to the truth of who you are. You start catching yourself mid thought and gently redirecting the energy from fear to faith, from reaction to creation. That single practice, conscious redirection, is how you stabilize your new state.
And this is where so many people falter. They believe that when old circumstances appear, it's proof that inner work isn't working. But it's not proof of failure, it's actually proof of success. It means the old frequency is dying out, being replaced by a new one. You're simply witnessing the delay between cause and effect, like hearing thunder after you've already seen the lightning. This is why the ancients said, hold the faith. Faith is not blind optimism, it's focused attention. It's the art of refusing to feed the old reality with your energy. When you keep your eye and your imagination fixed on your chosen state, you're not denying what is, you're choosing what will be. And here's the beauty of it. When you constantly hold that higher frequency, life begins to reorganize itself around you. Effort becomes replaced, becomes replaced by flow. Struggle gives way to synchronicity. You start being guided by intuition rather than being driven by fear. The ideas, the people, the timing, they will start lining up in ways your logical mind could never have planned. That's when you realize that reality creation isn't about forcing outcomes. It's about maintaining inner congruence. The external world is simply following your energetic lead.
And that leads us to perhaps the most liberating yet confronting truth. You are never a victim of your circumstances. You are always the source. That statement alone can feel triggering because it asks for radical self responsibility, but it's also the most empowering realization you'll ever have. Because if you're the source, then nothing outside you has the final say. You can shift the entire game from within. We are so powerful that we can even create the illusion of powerlessness. We can project our creative force into stories of struggle and limitation so convincingly that we forget that we're the authors. But once you see that illusion for what it is, the spell breaks. The creation becomes play. You stop taking your conditions so seriously. You start experimenting with your consciousness the way an artist plays with a color or a musician explores sound. You learn to ask, what frequency would I need to embody for this to be easy, rather than how can I make this happen? Because when your frequency is right, life moves mountains for you.
Exactly. The ultimate creative act isn't effort, it's remembrance. It's remembering who you really are. You're the son or daughter of the infinite, the rightful heir of the universe itself. When you remember, you stop negotiating for crumbs of peace or fragments of joy. You start living as someone who knows that joy and peace are a natural state. That's the royal frequency. That's the inheritance. And it's contagious. The moment you begin to live from that state quietly, confidently, without preaching, you become magnetic. You don't need to convince anyone of anything. Your reality speaks for itself. People feel it. They sense the calm certainty in your energy. They begin to wonder what changed, and without even trying, you start leading by example. This is how new worlds are built, not through argument, but through demonstration.
So the invitation is simple: end the game. Retire from the struggle. Stop trying to earn what's already yours. Your task isn't to fight harder, it's to remember deeper. Withdraw your energy from the illusions that feed on your attention. Reclaim your focus as the sacred creative power that it is. Let joy, inspiration, and love become your compass, not because they're noble sentiments, but because they're the most accurate guidance system that you possess. You're not here to prove your worth, you're here to express it. You're not here to win the game, you're here to remember that it was rigged in your favor from the very start. So breathe, relax your grip on control. Allow what's meant for you to flow in, because it's not a question of if it's coming. It already exists, waiting patiently for you to align with it.
And when you finally stop striving, something remarkable happens. The silence fills with clarity. The effort dissolves into ease. And you realize that creation isn't about doing, it's actually about allowing. Everything you've ever desired has been trying to reach you. It's been knocking at the door of your awareness, waiting for the static to clear. So open the door, let the abundance in, let the love in, let the life itself in. The crown is already yours. And all that's left is for you to wear it, though do so confidently, unapologetically, and joyfully, because the game is over and you already won.
If this message resonated with you, take a moment to let it settle, and then share it with someone who might need to remember that they've already won. If you'd like more talks like this, real conversations about consciousness, reality creation, and awakening, remember to like, subscribe, and tap that bell so you'll know when the new episodes are released. Your engagement helps these ideas reach others who are ready to remember who they are. Thank you for being here, for listening, for reflecting, and for playing your part in shifting the collective frequency. Until next time, think differently, dream boldly, and create consciously.
I'm a quiet rebel. I don't need a shower. Changing the